The wall and infinity. Once upon a time there was a wall that defended a town from external attacks by enemies. It was a tall and powerful wall, proud of itself and its strength. Every time an enemy army attacked his country, the wall resisted every attempt to breach it. The armies then camped around him and began long sieges. The population suffered from hunger and the cold, but the wall resisted every invasion attempt. Once the siege was over, the wall, now full of cracks and breaches, was repaired and strengthened, becoming increasingly taller and more powerful, until its town was completely obscured by its own mass. Sunlight no longer reached the town except for a few minutes a day when the sun was at its zenith. The people, impoverished by the costs of maintaining the wall and always immersed in darkness, suffered intolerably. But the wall could not afford to give way, it could not afford to reduce its strength and its height. He had to defend the country from external attacks at all costs. In the end the suffering of his people became simply intolerable. Now the alternative was between death or the demolition of the wall, which had become an enormous prison. And so one day, taking advantage of yet another attack by enemies coming from outside, his own people rebelled and began to pickaxe the mighty walls from the inside while the enemy's catapults struck with force outside. By now the wall was about to give way and his last chance would be to collapse on his enemies, even at the cost of destroying his entire country in immense ruin. What would he have done? Swallows that usually used the wall as a home during the summer months, as usual, when an attack occurred, would fly away, moving away, free in the infinite sky, without attachment to their nests subjected to general ruin. The infinite sky. How could an army ever conquer a country with infinite spaces? Where could he attack? Where could he ever find a place to besiege? The infinite, without walls or limits. The wall then realized that its very existence was the cause of the suffering of its people, who had built it believing they were defending themselves from external enemies, but in reality imprisoned themselves to the point of almost self-destruction. We, like that people, build walls around ourselves, to defend ourselves from suffering, raising these walls more and more, every time something annoys us, disturbs us. If we are not careful we will end up like those people, without light and without freedom, inflicting on ourselves even greater suffering than we are trying to defend ourselves from. The solution then is not to escape suffering by building walls of any kind, but on the contrary, by opening within ourselves the infinite spaces of our true being, our fundamental nature, without being morbidly attached to things, people, ideas, and so on. Free from illusion we will be able to be at peace with ourselves and with the world and bring this peace to others too. Form does not differ from emptiness. Emptiness does not differ from form. Form is emptiness, emptiness is form. He who contemplates that everything does not differ from emptiness, he overcomes all obstacles and is free. Being free there is no more fear, errors and illusions are removed and we arrive at the abode of peace, nirvana. Heart Sutra.